It's 5:40 in the morning, and it's time to go to work. Just right here?
Yes, sir. Do you need an umbrella? Are you alright?
That should be good. It looks like it's just down there, right? Morning. Yeah, good. How you doing? Nice to be here. And here I am. Home sweet home. Breakfast. Sweet breakfast. Okay. I got about 10 minutes till I'm in the chair. So, get cozy. Get ready for a day. Killing some Titans. Just kidding. Or am I?
What is up, Titans? Welcome back to a brand new Titans Season 4 update video. A bit of a bonus update today. I think this is the second Titans breakdown this week because we've got some really interesting new photos coming from the set of Titans Season 4 showing Raven's new look, which I definitely have a little bit of a theory behind there. I'll first look at Jinx, also Sebastian Sanger, aka Brother Blood, on the set with other Titans, and also Tim Drake's next step towards Robin through some episode photos, like in-episode shots, and a few more things. So I thought this definitely warrants a breakdown video. I'd love all of your thoughts on my thoughts, as usual, down in the comments below. Big thank you and shout out to Sean O'Neill for allowing us to break down these images today, because they're his images. He captured them on the set of Titans, and I recommend checking out not only his YouTube for an expanded set video of what we're breaking down today, but also checking out his Patreon page, because that way you can actually get access to these images as of when they drop. They're locked behind there, first of all, so if you want to be the first to see any new little peeks of Titan Season 4 that he manages to get, I do recommend checking out that. First of all, just going on Sean's Twitter page here is a little snapshot from the video that he took. It's good to see that everyone seems to be having a really great time filming. Everyone's got big smiles on their face here, as you can see. I also do recommend following him on Twitter for little like preview snapshots like this. Clearly, as I'm looking at these images over here, we have a scene of Sebastian Sanger still somewhat on this kind of journey, I'm sure, as I was mentioning, having a run-in with the Titans, and we do have another photo of him captured later on, which I think ties into this scene, and we will get to that, so stick around for that because it's taken by somebody else, and it definitely gives us a few clues. But his appearance here could also link to another big question that we have. Like, why has Raven's hair gone that kind of platinum-y blonde white, if you will? And if you look closely, you may notice through what you're seeing on screen right now that something is missing from her appearance. And that would be her chakra gemstone. Now, as I always say, ladies and gentlemen, that adaptations aren't copy and paste, but of course, at the same time, they do borrow little plot threads here and there from the source material, and I give it their own little, well, adaptation spin. And the reason why I mention this is because one very interesting thing about Sebastian, or Brother Blood if you will, is that in the source material he got to a point of basically seeking out Raven with the Church of Blood's help, like kind of hunting her down if you will, and he kind of very awkwardly somewhat wanted him to be his sister bride kind of thing. So as a result of making that official kind of, you know, title, what he did is he saw a chakra gem and he was like, right, I'm gonna bite that off your freaking forehead and swallow it. And that's exactly what he did. He took her gemstone, bit it off, and he swallowed it. Now, that is very interesting because, as we can tell from these photos, well, what is missing? The chakra gemstone that Raven usually has here. Now, I'm not saying, please do bear this in mind, I'm not saying that this is going to follow some weird Sebastian wanting their Lord Trigon's daughter to be his bride or anything like that. I don't think they're going to go that route. But what we can take out of this is perhaps little slithers of truth, maybe little slithers of adaptation here. So for example, you could possibly take the fact that because we have Tegan Croft's Raven's wig here, gone to that kind of Targaryen looking platinum blondie, Daenerys Targaryen kind of look of a hair, with the chakra gemstone missing, possibly indicating and symbolizing through the hair color a power loss, maybe. And you have to think, or at least assume, I think a safe assumption is this is probably because of the Church of Blood, if not Sebastian himself. Now, I can't guarantee that Sebastian, who will be Brother Blood, actually did the thing in the comics and actually bit it off her forehead. I doubt it will go down that way, even if he did take it. But you have to think this is obviously who are the main villains of this season: the Church of Blood, Mother Mayhem, Sebastian Sanger, aka Brother Blood. So you have to think they're going maybe, oh, missing gemstone, take that. But what this tells me, if it is going along that route, is another very fascinating theory that we have the kind of Raven missing theory here. Church of Blood took the gemstone like the source material, but stacking on top of that is what this could do for Sebastian Sanger in kind of facilitating his little Pokemon evolution, if you will, into Brother Blood. Whatever happens with the Chakra Gemstone of Ravens, of which we know when she got that in Season 2, she kind of came back super powerful and freaking yeeted her father Trigon into a little portal dimension-y thing from whence he came, you know? So as a result, whatever happens with the Chakra Gemstone, which let's just pose the theory that Sebastian does indeed have it, well, we were thinking, how does Sebastian Sanger get into Brother Blood magical powers? Well, this very Chakra Gemstone could allow him to come into his own Brother Blood powers and come from this somewhat once timid-esque looking man, working that dead-end job as described by Joseph Morgan, dreaming of changing the world, to actually be able to use his magical powers to actually, maybe as he wants to do, change the world and get those VFX powers like what we've seen from Raven before in prior episodes of Titans. Like, if he somehow utilizes it, whether you want to believe that's through swallowing it, like the source materials, like, okay, I'm just gonna take this like a freaking painkiller, or if he does some kind of something that just imbues him with such Raven powers because of the Chakra Gemstone that Sebastian would maybe have, that would allow him to maybe, you know, let out all of those crazy-ass powers that Brother Blood has in the comics. And I really feel like that, I know that's kind of an obvious direction for us to assume, but you have to think that if Raven's gemstone is missing, and obviously her hair is kind of symbolizing that, you know, drain of power, Sebastian, we know Sebastian Sanger is going to be Brother Blood. How could Titans do that? Well, equip that power, imbue himself with Raven's gemstone's freaking power. I don't know what other conclusion we could come to, but that would be certainly a way for all of those kind of demonic-esque, kind of bloody kind of effects that we've seen Raven use, that you may be seeing on screen right now, for him to be able to literally Palpatine that out of his freaking fingertips himself. But we have another photo of Sebastian Sanger here from DUCME. I'm sorry if I butchered the Instagram name, but you're seeing the profile on screen now, and thanks for letting me use the photo again. Guess this is like an extension of that scene we were talking about a few minutes ago from Sean's Movies photos. But we also have here Superboy seemingly taking Sebastian to Dick Grayson's car. Perhaps it's more of like a thing where Dick's like, okay, well, we've got to a point of identifying you either as somebody problematic, whether you're in the Church of Blood. If you watched my last video, you'll know that we went over a theory of perhaps the Titans going undercover in a possible Church of Blood location. Either way, at this point, Sebastian Sanger, albeit maybe not fully fledged Brother Blood, could still be identified as a threat, and at this point Dick Grayson, I don't know where he wants to drive him, maybe somewhere to have a bit of a chat, and Superboy as a result is restraining him. Now, this kind of maybe symbolizes that Sebastian isn't powerful yet because Superboy would be weak to magic, and clearly here he's kind of like, you know, guiding him to the car. So maybe right now it could be the thing of where you can assume he's not threatening if if you know, because otherwise he could use his magic to kind of, you know, destroy Superboy temporarily, especially with maybe the Chakra Gemstone, but maybe it's not got to a point of where he's absorbed that, found a way to utilize Raven's Chakra Gemstone. Maybe that theory isn't even true, albeit I do think the Gemstone absolutely has something to do with the Church of Blood. But maybe it might be a situation of Dick Grayson and the Titans underestimating Sebastian Sanger. Sebastian's going along for the journey for only this unveiling of power, for him to completely, I don't know, surprise them, and them to not quite realize that he's already got the upper hand through having absorbed the power in some way, shape, or form. Again, that is complete and utter speculation at this point. A lot of this is, even though some are, I think, safe assumptions in certain areas, or we're at least on maybe a bit of a misty path, but we know it's kind of the right one. Before we end this somewhat entire scene breakdown here, we're going back to Sean's photos of our first look at Jinx, played by Lisa Ambalavanar. Hope I didn't butcher the name again there. But Lisa is playing Jinx. As we know, I believe all three actors got cast or announced at the same time for, you know, Franca Potente as Mother Mayhem, Joseph Morgan as Sebastian Sanger, aka Brother Blood, and Lisa Ambalavanar as Jinx. And here we can see that she's also on the set with the Titans, and, you know, along with Sebastian and everyone else. So I do wonder, and I have speculated, is Lisa's Jinx perhaps playing a little bit of a Rose Wilson situation like in Season 2? She was a bit like, oh, is she on our side? Is it going to be a bit of a Judas contract-y kind of betray thing? But they were kind of playing with that, but she was really against her father at the end. But what if they're doing, and what I mean by the Rose Wilson-esque example here, you could argue that maybe the Church of Blood, for some reason, she might be involved with them. And since she has magical powers, point could be made with a theory that she is weaponized by them, maybe on behalf of Sebastian, Mother Mayhem, or just the Church in general, and she could have had something to do with Raven's missing Chakra Gemstone. She could be up against the Titans for only maybe Dick Grayson to appeal to her at some point. I don't know, I do feel like it would be a bit straightforward for her to be like, oh, I'm going to come in with the Titans now. But you never know. Like, there could be a good story there in getting her out of the culty kind of mindset of the Church of Blood. Other than that, the visual design that we have, at least for now, of Jinx isn't too unexpected at all. I know there's going to be some people out there being like, why does she look like a comic book counterpart exactly? Or like the Teen Titans Go kind of thing. Well, you could arguably say that the tinge of purple you can see here is a little bit of a nod to the Teen Titans look. But other than that, she's not going to be like full-on super-fledged suit on the set when, yeah, granted she's the character, but, you know, you don't just spawn with a suit, if you know what I mean. I just can't really pin down what her role in this is, other than I think with her power set that she could be a little bit of a pawn for the Church of Blood. Kind of like, hey, you can help us do this, you can help us do that, maybe. Maybe she knows Joseph Morgan, Sebastian Sanger. Maybe she's hired or is working for Mother Mayhem. Maybe she actually believes in the cult of the Church of Blood. Lastly, with regards to this scene, I almost forgot that Joseph Morgan uploaded this photo onto his Instagram. And yeah, let's just say that Sebastian's got himself into a bit of a pickle here that could have actually led to that whole apprehending, you know, by Superboy and Dick Grayson, in where he has some blood on his hands, which yeah, like, did he accidentally kill someone? Is this kind of the starting point from Sebastian to Brother Blood realizing that journey he's about to go on, kind of like Arthur Fleck, which interestingly comes into, or should I say, back to that video I featured at the beginning of this breakdown, provided by Joseph Morgan, going to the set of Titans and just, you know, showing that little journey of his mornings there. But also, he featured the Joker soundtrack. Now, interestingly, that could be helping him get into the state or mindset of Sebastian. I'm not saying outright he's going to be Arthur Fleck, as I said last video. I've always, and it's interesting, said that I do see a bit of a, you know, transformation, and I think this could be true in Echoes at least, that you see Arthur Fleck and Joker go from that man, that timid, kind of shy man, into a transformation of somewhat of a monster. I mean, not somewhat of a monster, but you can kind of see where that went in that movie. Now, the fact that we have Joseph Morgan here, and I'm sure, I don't want to read into this too deeply, listening to the Joker soundtrack, it probably helps him really get into the mood for that character. But I can imagine maybe, and the reason why I linked this to that Bloodshot on his hands is because I'm sure, as I've kept reiterating in videos as well, we're going to empathize with this character, just like you could with Arthur at certain points in the Joker movie, right? And there was that part on the train where, granted, he did go quite far with the gunshots, but when he was being picked on the subway in Gotham, it ended up with him killing them, and that really sparked the kind of metamorphosis, if you will, or evolution into the Joker. He went into the bathroom, started doing that dance, and that's where, like, the inner Joker was coming out, if you know what I mean. I just feel like, could this be the beginning, the blood on his hands, of his transformation into realizing Brother Blood, actualizing him slowly but surely, but also combine that with the Joker soundtrack. Again, probably reading too much into it, but there's some kind of, you know, cool mindset stuff going on there that probably helps him get into the mood. I've also noticed that he has a journal which he's taken with him from wherever he's staying to set as well. That could be another thing that helps him get in character. But also, maybe it's in episode as well, because it also reminds me, funnily enough, of how Arthur Fleck had a little kind of journal he wrote in, like a whole kind of ramblings and scramblings of not only his comedic jokes, but it started to get almost like the Riddler in the latest movie as well, less coherent the more and more it went along. Lastly, everyone, we have some in-episode shots of the Titans. Now, the first one I want to look at is this photo of Corey, Superboy, and Gar. Now, I'm thinking this could be them in Star Labs, possibly looking at Gar's suit. Complete speculation, I know. I feel like I've seen this set before in similar photos. I've speculated already in previous update videos that this could be the inside of Star Labs. Again, could be completely wrong, but they're smiling. Gar is looking a bit like, oh my god, is that for me, maybe? Could be happening there, could be wrong. But also, in this other in-episode shot, we see Tim Drake, and there's a couple of Tim Drake photos that you're probably seeing on screen, but one of them shows him holding a bow staff, likely Dick Grayson's old bow staff, which we know is very Tim Drake-y from the comics. Now, this will probably lead to larger questions that I just want to, like, talk about now with regards to, oh, like, is he going to get his Robin suit? Now, my personal thoughts with that is that it's going to be something he gets to. Now, will it be at the end of this season? I would say it's more likely than not likely, if you know what I mean. I wouldn't be surprised if they still benched a suit for the next season after that, but I do think that Dick will give him one at a certain point. But yeah, again, just looking at this, he's probably going to get there eventually, but training will come, hints of his future self will be made apparent, such as this bow staff, probably even Dick Grayson's old bow staff. I think that's awesome, and how, you know, the one that he used to deploy into the staff version of itself will be handed down to Tim. That's really awesome. I can't wait to see that scene. But along the way, we'll probably get even more hints into his Robin mode, but then later on, a season reveal, or an episode reveal, if you will, of the Robin suit, of him kind of earning it through the training, or kind of, should I say, proving himself appropriately up until a certain point. We'll get that moment where it's like, hey, here's a Robin suit you can wear. So I think that more or less wraps up everything from today's Titans Season 4 update video. So all I have left to say is expand, expand, expand down in the comments below. What ways do you think they could adapt this? All of the theories I went over earlier. Do you like what you see with Jinx? What do you really think's going on with Sebastian and the missing gemstone and Raven's white-esque looking hair? But like this video, guys, if you did enjoy it, it's a huge help to the channel. If you're interested in staying up to date with any and all Titans and DC, Marvel, and just pop culture news and updates, do subscribe to the channel, of course. And hey, if you want to follow me a little bit further, I do have links down in the description below or in the top pinned comment. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. I have a Discord server where we talk about Titans there as well. And I think that is everything. So just thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day. And I'll see you fellow Titans in the next video. Goodbye.